Financial Grownup Guide, how to buy art like a financial grown-up. You're listening to Financial Grownup with me, certified financial planner Bobbi Rebell, author of How to Be a Financial Grownup. And you know what? Being a grown-up is really hard, especially when it comes to money. But it's okay. We're going to get there together. We got this. Hey, friends. I don't know about you, but I find the idea of buying art completely intimidating. And I have actually bought some art. And you know what? It was completely intimidating. The prices often seem completely arbitrary. For example, did you hear about the banana that was duct taped to a wall at Art Basel in Miami recently? Yes, it sold for $120,000. But wait, there's more. Then a performance artist, and he claims he had no previous interaction with the artist behind the banana. So this wasn't planned. So they say he came along and he ate the banana. And then they said, well, we can just replace the banana because it's about the concept. $120,000 for a concept. I'm going to leave a link explaining the whole thing in the show notes, which, as you know, are on my website, bobbirebell.com/financial grownup podcast. Just put in any keyword about this episode, like how to buy art, in the box if you don't see it right there anyway. I have a secret weapon when it comes to learning and successfully buying art and not feeling like a total idiot. I'm going to share it with you. It is my friend, Janis Cecil. I've known her since college. She is a gallerist and an art advisor, and she is going to cut through all of the jargon and explain how the whole thing works. And she's going to have it make sense for us. And I promise you're going to be brave enough after you listen to this to walk into a gallery or even an art fair and kind of feel like you know what you're doing. My favorite parts of the interview are when Janis explains exactly how you can negotiate and ask for a discount. Yes, you can do that. And she also shares how to buy work by famous artists that is legit work by these artists, but in a budget that is not a millionaire or a billionaire in some cases. She has great ideas, great solutions to start your art collection. Here is Janis Cecil. Janis Cecil, my friend, I'm so happy to have you on the podcast.
I'm thrilled to be here, Bobbi.
We go way back to our college days. We actually met on an art history, I guess, semester abroad in Paris, and you stuck with it and became a gallerist and an art advisor. And I, of course, went into journalism.
Right, exactly. So we studied at Reed Hall and architecture history, and I studied history of art at university, and then began what has been over a 2-decade career working in galleries, not for profit when I was in college, and then working for some of the great galleries, Wildenstein and Company, Marlborough Gallery, where I was a director for almost 10 years, another gallery called Edward Naham. Now I'm the founding director of a contemporary gallery founded in London called Blaine Southern.
A lot of our listeners are very curious about investing in art and what it takes to get started. So I wanted to bring you on to kind of give us the inside scoop in, I hate to say, a safe environment, because so many galleries seem intimidating. Even as your friend walking into that beautiful space in Chelsea, it's vast. You see this stunning art on the wall, and you don't really know how it all works. So how does it work? How do you start buying art, Janis?
So the primary market are galleries that represent artists who are making art now, which they are then presenting and selling to the public. There are other types of galleries called secondary market galleries, which just specialize in selling works that have been sold before. So these works were sold from an artist at one point, and now they're back on the market, either because the owners decided to sell them for whatever reason. The 3 Ds are often thought of, which is death, divorce, or debt. Sometimes people sell for those 3 reasons. So other times people just want to upgrade their collections, or they've moved and they can't take their big painting with them. So there are all sorts of reasons why people sell.
So the first step is to figure out what you like. Let's say you're ready for a transaction. I know when I've gone in, for example, to your gallery, there is no price tag next to these paintings.
That's true. Very observant, Bobbi. So there is actually a rule in New York that galleries are supposed to have available a price list upon request. I would suggest that if there's something that someone likes in a gallery, just say hi. Either there'll be someone, a staff member of the gallery, could be a sales director who'll talk to you about prices. There could be a price list available upon request at the front desk at the gallery. So every gallery will be somewhat different about this. They may have someone come out and talk to the person who's asking about prices. So that way they can give a fuller understanding of the artist and their career and kind of help the viewer understand what they're looking at and how things are priced. A price that's quoted by the person at the gallery is somewhat negotiable, especially if it's primary market. So an artist who's selling will have an agreement with the gallery where they split the proceeds from the work that's sold. And usually there is between a 5 and a 15% discount that can be given to a buyer.
What is the language that you would use to ask for that? I mean, what do you say?
One of the negotiating tactics would be to say, hi, I really like this painting. What's the price? Then someone tells you the price. You can say, well, is that the best you can do? Or what do you think the best price is? So I think the nomenclature here would be best price. And then also there are things that can be negotiated, which could be, if it's a larger work that would cost money to send someplace, right, to ship somewhere, you can kind of negotiate shipping costs. Like maybe the gallery can ship for free, or they can actually pay for the crating. So imagine now paintings that are really expensive. To build a crate that's actually museum worthy, that can travel across large distances, costs thousands and thousands of dollars. So, in this case, if you're buying something smaller or something that is less valuable, you could use something called a master pack box, which they can actually order, and it'll fit the artwork perfectly and keep it super safe. So it could be sent by Federal Express or another courier or hand trucked.
So New York is somewhat of an art gallery every day and an art fair every day because there's so many galleries, but many people do enjoy going to art fairs. I know I've gone to them and I've actually bought art at them. Tell me how those work differently from walking into a gallery.
Okay, so the art fair is kind of like the art buying experience on steroids. I mean, it is it is just all about the transaction and all about introducing people to new artists or to a new body of work they haven't seen by an artist. If you see something you like, I would advise going in and introducing yourself to whoever looks like they're in charge in that booth. I would just start a conversation and say, hi, I like this. Tell me about the artist. Where are they from? What's the material? So what's the medium of this work I'm looking at? Is it an oil? Is it acrylic? Is it watercolor? If it's a sculpture, what's it made out of? And they can talk to you about the artist's inspiration or the goals that they're trying to achieve with this work.
And again, how negotiable is it? And does that negotiability change depending on how early or how late in the fair you're there?
Yes, things are negotiable always. So again, I would go by the 5 to 15% rule, remembering, of course, that there is no incentive necessarily for a gallery to give a discount to an artist that's super hot when they're pretty much going to sell everything out. They may not give discounts at all, or they may decide, look, if the collector's coming to us and they buy from us a lot, we're going to always give them kind of a 10% discount. So it's going to depend, really depending on the artist that is of interest and the gallery where you're looking. And then at the end of the fair, so say the fair starts on a Wednesday, that's the VIP day. Then on Sunday comes, and it could be at the end of the week when the fair is about to close, there could be perhaps more flexibility in prices just because the fair is almost over and they'd like to try to sell things before they leave.
Because it's expensive to ship things back, right?
It is expensive to ship things back. Or, you know what? Shipping things back when they're sold, everyone's happy to do that.
Of course.
But they'd rather ship it to its next home.
Yes. Okay. Are there things to look for? If you're buying for what you love, that goes without saying. But if you're buying and you do hope that this will appreciate in value, so you're buying as an investment, what are some things that people should keep in mind?
Things you're looking at are condition of the work, doing homework, say on a database that records auction sales. So that could be Live Art Auction or ArtNet, and looking at what other works of art have sold by that artist in similar years or similar media. And then also having a condition report and doing basic due diligence on what the work is that's being sold.
How much of this is available online? What can people find out if they don't have access to an art expert like you?
Well, there are a couple of different ways of doing this. So both Artsy and ArtNet have auction records online. Artsy also provides kind of more of a bio and understanding of where that artist's work is in the firmament of contemporary art today. So artsy.net, and you would basically go on the site and say, okay, I'm interested in a painting by, let's say, the American Alex Katz, or I'm interested in a sculpture by, let's say, the British sculptor Lynn Chadwick. Like, what museums are this work in? And what are the prices at auction? How do we find sculpture or paintings by these artists? And so there's a whole way of doing that. There'll be galleries you can search. You can Google the artist's name and see who represents the artist or the estate of the artist. And remembering that if you fall in love with something that's very, very expensive, like, say, a Jasper Johns painting. Jasper Johns paintings will cost decamillions. So even if you love Jasper Johns and you can't afford that, which, by the way, most people cannot, you can still buy a beautiful work on paper by the artist or a limited edition print. Art form in itself is really good printmaking. So it could be etchings, it could be lithographs, right? Like Warhol, silk screens. All these things are ways to buy art by artists who are famous, who are eternally recognized, and to make it affordable.
Well, I was even looking at Blaine Southern's website before we started recording, and there's a lot of really accessible stuff. As inexpensive, by the way, as one artist had a mug that was 10 pounds in this case because it was from your British branch. But there's very affordable works and works that are from the artist, but as you said, they're editions, they're prints. So that means there's not only one, but there's only one of the one that you have. It might be an edition of 50.
Exactly. So it's an edition of 50. You will get your own edition number, and it'll be edition, 2 of 50 or 10 of 50. And there's something else to know, which is that most editions have what's called an artist proof, or in French, you would say épreuve d'artiste. And so there'll be a limited edition, say, of 10, and then there could be 2 artist proofs. So it means there are 12 in existence. But say if it's an edition of 10, when you buy something, it'll either be one of that 10, or it could be an artist proof if the artist does decide to sell them. Another way to find really beautiful limited editions is to shop at museum stores. And I love museum stores because it's great. You're supporting artists. You're supporting the health of the institution when you buy from museum shops. And if you're a member at a museum, then you also get a discount when you do that.
Even though you're buying this artist at a lower price point, a more accessible price point, it is fully work of that artist and could also appreciate. It is a limited edition. So it is potentially an investment. It could be.
Sure.
Nothing's ever guaranteed, but it is a way to buy these artists at much more affordable prices.
Exactly. I mean, Jasper Johns, prints by Jasper Johns, when he made them, were incredibly affordable. They are now worth over $1 million. And the important thing, when looking at art is to think about what is it that I can buy with the budget that I have. So I'd rather buy 1 or 2 things a year that are really good quality, that are representative of the artist. So in other words, that means they're kind of emblematic of what the artist does, right? So if you want to buy a work by an artist who's famous for painting portraits, maybe if you're going to buy just one thing by that artist, buy something that's actually figurative, right? That represents a portrait or a person. And that's kind of what that artist is known for. Whereas what if you want to buy something like by the British artist David Hockney? And, he's known for doing interiors, but also these incredibly lush landscapes. So in that case, like a landscape by David Hockney makes perfect sense.
What should people do when they walk into the galleries and it's just dead quiet and there's just somebody at the desk kind of staring at them? It can feel so awkward, Janis.
Well, I mean, most front desk people that I've had anyone at the front desk, I've always encouraged them to be friendly and smile and be welcoming. I think it's just to say hi. And then, when you leave, say thank you. And, if you're like, oh, wow, I love that. Can you tell me more? And if the front desk person is super busy or can't talk to you, then they'll usually get someone who can.
Amazing. Such great advice. Tell us more about where people can find you and learn more about your business.
Oh, okay. Thanks. So I'm Janis Cecil, and the gallery is Blaine Southern. That's BlainSouthern.com. And the gallery is in Chelsea on 25th Street and in London and in Berlin. And then also I wanted to give you just a little advice about looking at other galleries. The Art Dealers Association of America, which is the ADAA, has their own website. And also I work with some other great independent art advisors. And if you're somebody who really says, okay, I want to go in, but I need some guidance and I have a healthy budget to spend, then maybe looking to art advisors, professional art advisors is a good way to do that, who will, really spend a lot of time educating you and making sure that you don't make any mistakes, especially if you're spending real money.
Because it is a big investment.
It is a big investment, and there's a lot to know when you're actually looking at a painting. some of that stuff can be parsed much more easily with an art advisor or with, I work with clients independently of the necessarily what they're buying at the gallery, and we'll work with them in the gallery to help advise them. Since we've all been dealing with art for over 25 years, we can help them look at work that comes through auction and help them kind of discern what's the right thing to buy and at what price.
What are your social media handles for you in the gallery?
At Janis G. Cecil is Twitter and Instagram. And the gallery is at Blaine Southern.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am completely biased. I've been friends with Janis since college, but I just love that interview. So many nuggets of information that I did not know. And frankly, in a different context, I might have been a little bit afraid to ask, but I'm glad I did ask. I'd love to know what you guys learned. So here's a challenge. Take a screen grab of this episode wherever you're listening to it, post it on social media, including your favorite part, what you learned maybe. And don't just tag me at Bobby Rebel1 on Instagram, at Bobby Rebel on Twitter. Also tag Janis Cecil. Then tag a friend or two that you think will enjoy the episode as well. And thanks to Gallerist and art advisor Janis Gardner Cecil of Blaine Southern. We can all buy art like the financial grownups that we are. Thanks, everyone. Financial Grownup with Bobby Rebel is edited and produced by Steve Stewart and is a BRK Media production.